Hi, Martin here. Today I want to do another cooling mod for the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the 99 through 04. Now I did one a while ago where I removed the hydraulic cooling fan and replaced it with an electric, and couldn't be happier. I mean, the results were great. I went from running as hot as 225 degrees on a hot summer day here in southern Nevada down to more like a 190. It doesn't get much better than that. And that is using a 180 degree thermostat. But now what I want to do today is improve the efficiency of that radiator, getting cooler air to it and less restrictive air to a portion of that radiator. So what I'm talking about is this area right here of this, what would appear to be the condenser. Well, the top portion of it is the power steering cooler for the hydraulic fan and your power steering. Well, it needed this big of a cooler because of the hydraulic fan. Now that we don't have that anymore, we don't need nearly that big of a cooler. I mean, and we could almost go down to almost no cooler at all. Just like this one right here. This is found in a 99 and 2000 Jeep Grand Cherokee. And this used to be mounted right here in this location. Okay, this is the one I'm looking to install right here. This is on a 2000 Jeep Grand Cherokee. This particular one does have the 4.7 in it. And I think this is just, I like the way it sits off here to the side. And this is more than sufficient enough to cool the power steering. You can see it comes right through here. And that's all it needed, because we didn't have the hydraulic cooling fan. So what I want to do is remove this top portion of the condenser, or the power steering cooler, leaving the condenser, of course, for our air conditioning. And this will help us in a couple ways. One, we're going to give the radiator more air, more unrestricted air. Second, it's going to be a cooler air, because as the air passes through this power steering cooler, it is being warmed up because of the power steering system, right? It's cooling it. So by removing this top portion, cleaner air and cooler air. So let's get started. We'll start by draining the radiator. See, if you haven't seen my video on the hydraulic fan removal, and we've got the electric fan in here right now, I mean, just look at the room between the electric fan and the harmonic balancer. Huge amount of room. That's one of my favorite features, not to mention it runs a whole lot cooler. All right, while the radiator is draining, I'm going to go ahead and remove the grill and the support going across here. This is a custom grill I built some time ago. It's just the 2 screws and it lifts right out of here. Removing these 2 Torx bolts. Now we can take that out of there. Okay, this cooler I got sitting right here, this is my transmission cooler. I bypassed the radiator completely, and I got this out of a Ford Ranger. Did a small mod to make it fit. I do have a video on that, by the way. I'll put a link down below and maybe up above. All right, now just remove this support going across here. And then disconnect both your radiator hoses, upper and lower. Alright, then remove the 2 bolts that are holding the radiator in, one on either side here, and also the bolts that are holding the condenser in. 10mm socket. Alright, now that we got the hardware removed, all you got to do is lift the condenser up off of the 2 slots down below. And we can set this back down again for right now. Okay, we're good there. And now we're ready to remove the radiator. Alright, this is so much easier with this fan instead of the hydraulic, believe me. Alright, one of the next thing we're going to want to do, we've got to take care of these power steering lines. We need to disconnect both of them. They go to the cooler. There we go. Alright, now I'm just going to go ahead and disconnect this line right here, the 2 power steering lines. There's a 10mm nut that holds them on there. And I cut off a water bottle, so I know, you got fluid in this here, so it's definitely going to leak. And I shoved a rag down here just to capture whatever I don't catch here. Okay, got that out of there. All right, got it drained. Holds like that much. Now comes the fun part. Okay, now what I was saying about the tricky part. What we got here is, you see these thin lines right here? Okay, these thinner ones, that's your AC condenser. The thicker tubes up here, that's your power steering. So what we got to do is cut between these 2, of course, and we definitely don't want to get anywhere near the AC condenser. So I'm going to cut as close as I can to this upper tube. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Hi, I'm out here at Pick Apart working on this project, and I just can't go cutting my condenser apart not knowing what I'm going to run into. So I'm out there cutting theirs apart. Now I found one that was already bent up, and it's no good for resale. So it doesn't hurt to cut this one up. So I'll show you what I found. When I did the initial cut, that's what I had right there. And then I thought, well, let's see. Now when I did that, I ran into the power steering cooler part of it. That's okay, because we're getting rid of that anyway. And I was wondering how low I can go, so I laid it right up against here and cut it again. And sure enough, you're going to run into the condenser part of it. So you got to be careful when you do this. All right, so you can see that we need to, we're going to just go ahead and cut up here. Now also we're going to lose some more oil, because when we drain this, it only drains up to this bottom line right here. So we still, these two tubes down here still holding oil. So once I start cutting into this, it is going to start leaking again, okay? And then we're going to cut all the way across through these fins. That'll be the easy part. Over to this side here. Sounds like fun, doesn't it? All right, I got through. Okay, now that's as far as the hacksaw blade will take me. What I'm going to do here, I'm just using a sawzall blade with a vice grip pinched in here. And this is actually kind of how I did it out at Pick Apart. And it, for this portion of it, it works just fine. And so far so good. I mean, if we would have hit the AC condenser, you would have definitely known it, because that would have been one for the blooper reel, right? All right, so I'm going to continue with the with this here, cutting across. Here we go. All right, got it. And so far, no mishaps. We're not quite done yet. All right, now that we got that portion cut off, you end up with this really kind of a rough spot right here. It's the top of the fins there, what's left of them. Well, I want to, for aesthetic purposes, I want to get rid of that and cut it down to the top of this tube of the condenser. So I'm going to basically use the same manner I used to cut this off with to get rid of those fins. Again, you got to be really careful, because we cut into that and we're going to have problems. I'm kind of just raking it off of here. And that's the finished product we're getting for right there. You end up with just a little bit of roughness here. After we throw some paint on there, that'll look, it'll look just fine. This rasp doesn't work too bad either. You just got to be really kind of careful, because those got some pretty, aggressive teeth on them. So when you get right down to this part of it, you really want to lighten up the pressure. All right, with the condenser all cleaned up, I'm just going to shoot a little black paint onto it, and then we can move on to installing the power steering cooler. All right, now taking the power steering cooler that I got from the earlier model Grand Cherokee, we'll get that installed right in here. All right, now using the two bolt holes that are already pre-drilled in the frame, and make sure you also grab the two existing bolts. Now the one back here is a little harder to get to. My wiring is kind of covering that up. cut their own threads.
Now the bolts themselves will cut the threads into those holes. And it does help to use a swivel head, especially for that back one there. It's almost underneath the headlight bucket.
Alright, now with the cooler in place, you can just hook up the lines. Now this one here, that one you won't have to change the length at all. Hooks right up perfectly.
Alright, I'm reusing the factory clamp right there. They seem to work fine for me. And now bringing the return line right through that there. That is the same location that the factory one was. I'm going to shorten this line up, get my length right there, reinstall the hose, and tighten the clamp. And we're good to go. Here's the finished product. That's how that sits there. Okay, now we're getting time to reinstall the radiator. Okay, returning the radiator back into its spot. This is so much easier with the electric fan. It was almost a two-man job before getting it in and out of there.
Alright, before I get the whole thing back together, I want to give you a shot at what it looks like. You know, this is all bolted in. Here's the piece, you know, we cut out. And I mean, you can see where it was. And so that's how much air we were blocking, or, you know, at least restricting. And giving the radiator warmer air due to the fact that it's cooling the power steering fluid. Now that we removed that section, we're getting nice cool air to this portion of the radiator. We have a sufficient power steering cooler right there. That's all I need. And I think that's going to work out nice. I mean, I think it'll be a noticeable improvement. Okay, I'm going to get the rest of this back together and get this thing running again. Alright, before I get the grill put back on, I just wanted to give you one last look at it. Got my transmission cooler mounted back in here. We got our power steering cooler, AC condenser and radiator in, and I think it turned out real nice. Okay, now for the most important part, is getting your coolant in and getting all the air out of this. My theory is this is the #1 problem with this engine when you come into the valve seat drop, is due to improper purging of the air and causing hot spots in the cylinder head, and then it cools quickly when coolant does get there, and you know, and that continuous cycle of that air pocket moving around, especially up in the cylinder heads, is causing the valve seats to drop. So please make sure you get all the air out. Remove the bleed fitting right here, and on mine, I put a 10 ANN fitting in here. I really like it. You don't have to torque it down very much at all, and it's easy to get off, and it extends the height of the coolant level. So, I mean, you lose less coolant and get more air out. And don't forget to top off the power steering fluid. I mean, there'll be a little bit of air in there. For this, that air is going to work out pretty fast. And always use the proper power steering fluid. One from Redline right here, that works quite well. You'll want to let this system bleed for at least 10 minutes. Keep an eye on the air bubbles, and when they disappear, you should be good. You'd be surprised how much air is in the system. See, now as the thermostat starts opening up, we're getting a lot more air out of it. It's starting to circulate that water through the cylinder head. A lot, you know, there's a lot more flow. And you're working that air out of there. This is why it's important to let it run for, you know, at least 10 minutes. Oh yeah, tons of air. Electric fan just kicking on. Alright, well there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I got 100-degree weather coming up this week, so I'll really know, if this mod did anything for me. That's the way it is here in southern Nevada. I got 3 months of that coming up. Now I got some other cooling mods that I'm going to be doing very soon, and I'm trying to do anything I can, to help make this thing run cooler, to make that thermostat do its job, and the electric fan as well. All right, and I want to give out a special thanks to Robert for that $50 donation on PayPal. I do appreciate that. We want to be putting it to good use. And if you'd like to help out, I have a PayPal button on my banner of my homepage. I'll also put one down in the description below. And there's also another way you can help out by just simply going to the description down below. You'll find Amazon links. You can click on one of those. I'll take you to your home page and do all your Amazon shopping through one of those links, and that way the channel earns a small commission. I do appreciate it. And if you like this video, I'd sure appreciate the thumbs up. That helps out the channel immensely. And if you've never subscribed to me before, please hit that subscribe button right down there and that little bell symbol right next to it. And that way you get notifications of my upcoming videos. All right, thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.